We never got insurance that work. That's what they do. So she did. So.
Good evening, Rick. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Education, the Fort Stockton Independent School District. It is Monday, August 29th, 2022, and it is now 7 o'clock. We're in the boardroom at 101 West Division, Fort Stockton, Texas. The board may deliberate or act on any of the subjects listed on the following agenda. The president may change the order of the items listed for the convenience of the board. The board may enter into closed meeting to seek the advice and counsel of its attorney at any time during the meeting under the authority of Texas Government Code Chapter 551.071 regarding any item listed on the agenda of this meeting or in order for the attorney to provide legal assistance or advice to the board. We now got a quorum, and now we'll have a roll call.
Anastasio Dominguez, present. Billy Espino, absent. Raul Garcia, here. Betty Martinez, here. Andy Rivera, here. Sandra Rivera is absent. Ursula Sanchez. Here.
This meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Open Code. Hey, Martin, please,
States of America. Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for allowing us to gather here this evening. We also thank you for the great beginning to the school year. We ask that you continue to guide us in the right direction and grant us some wisdom to lead this district in the best way that we can. Look over our community, look over our great state and our country. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
For the- Sir, to begin with the principal students of the month. Strategies to rather than public hearing.
Okay. The principal and students of the month.
Mr. Madrid is going to inform everybody about the sponsors for Students of the Month and some of the prizes that they are going to give throughout the year. Sir, if you would.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Demore. Thank you, school board. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. First of all, last year, the Mesquite Tree did give, I believe it was an ice cream or some type of certificate for an ice cream at the Mesquite Tree. She's going to continue to do that, although she is out of town and was supposed to bring the certificates to the school today. But that's one good thing. The other second thing is Mrs. Barragon and her son Tristan are also going to give a $10 gift certificate for the student of the month where they can use it for the movies or the concession stand when they go to the movies. So we do have 2 sponsors this year, which is better than last year when we had 1. So that being said, we'll have Apache. We'll start with Apache, then Alamo, Intermediate, Middle School, and High School next.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Mrs. Pacheco, and I'm the principal at Apache Elementary. And we have pre-K to first grade students at our campus. And tonight, our student of the month is Giselle Lujan. Giselle was chosen. The first grade team was happy to announce Giselle Lujan as the August student of the month. Giselle has a great work ethic in the classroom and is always eager to learn. She has a big heart, she is a hard worker, and she encourages others to do their best. She exemplifies what it means to be a first grade champ. When faced with a challenge, Giselle uses her problem-solving skills and is resilient in finding a solution. Giselle strives to reach her goals and consistently sets new ones. She has a wonderful imagination and is a gifted storyteller. She is a fantastic friend to her classmates, and she offers a helping hand to her teacher. Her enthusiasm for learning is remarkable. Keep up the great work, Giselle. You are indeed a model student for Apache Elementary.
Good evening, I'm Bridget Chavez. I am the principal at Alamo Elementary. This is Taylee Gregory. This is our August student of the month. Say a little bit about Taylee. Taylee Gregory is again our Alamo student of the month. She is in the 2nd grade and is an all-around great student. She exhibits all of the characteristics of a leader. She is kind, helpful, and always willing to put others first. She excels in all academic areas. She is being recognized this evening for her academic performance, her citizenship, and her character. And Tayloe is very proud to have her as our August Student of the Month.
Good evening, I'm Miguel Castillo, I'm the principal at Intermediate School. Our intermediate student of the month is Taylee Ramirez. She's a fifth grade student who exemplifies the traits of a leader in academics and citizenship. She pays attention in class and is always eager to learn, especially in science, her favorite subject. Taylee is a respectful and responsible young lady who is always modeling the intermediate expectations for others. In her free time, she enjoys art activities. We're looking forward to the wonderful things she will continue to do. Congratulations to Taylee Ramirez.
Good evening, doctors and whatnot board. Thank you guys for giving us the time to recognize our students. The Fort Stockton Middle School team is honored to announce Natalie Jaimez as our August Student of the Month. She's an 8th grader who was nominated by several of her teachers. Natalie respectfully participates in classroom discussion and is very polite. She is kind to her peers as well as to the staff. One of her teachers is quoted by saying, "Natalie is a shining example of the kind of students others should strive to be." She is being recognized for her leadership as well as her academic performance. Fort Stockton Middle School looks forward to many great things from Natalie. Our Student of the Month, Natalie.
Good evening, Ken Wallace, the principal at the high school. Our student of the month is Christian Rodriguez. This is a young man who's involved in several different things. He's involved in, he works with trainers, he does student council, and he does a lot of things. So being new to the campus in the first month, a lot of you can attest to this, you don't really get to interact with all the great students at first. So it's very hard for me to find one to be an outstanding one. Right now, I'm dealing with all the other ones. But I did find Christian. I have had interactions with him. Very positive thinking young man, a leader among all of our kids. And so that's our student of the month, Christian Rodriguez.
Thank you and congratulations to all the students of the month. It's always our favorite part of the meeting to see some of our best and brightest come up and be recognized. Keep on trucking along. That's fantastic. When we get to the end of this part, we always allow for about a minute. If you would like at this point to depart from the meeting, you're more than welcome to stay, but this is your chance to stick for all the boring stuff that follows. Thank you all for coming.
Now go into the open.
7:10.
Everyone, I have provided you with a booklet, but we don't have some available chairs or on the table last night. Our public meeting on our proposed budget and proposed tax rate for 2022-20. On this, moving on to page 1. These are our board goals addressing academics, career technology, communication, financial management, and participation. Page 2. These are the funds that constitute the 2022-2023 proposed budget, which is our general fund, which includes all the payroll costs for professional services and contracted services, and materials, other operating expenditures, which include travel, property insurance, our debt service, and capital improvements. It also includes our child nutrition fund, which is the fund that accounts for the child nutrition program, and our debt service fund, which is the account that is used to account for the principal and interest payments on the long-term bonds sold by the district. All those budgets total $52,099,924. Page 3 is our estimated resources. Most of the resources primarily that fund our general fund is local taxes and state revenue. From local taxes, we estimate to generate approximately $30 million, or 79% of the total general fund budget. State funding, $6.4 million, 17% of our budget. We also have Chapter 313 revenue, which is not subject to recapture, approximately $960,000 of that. The other local revenues, $587,000, or about 1%, which is made up out of interest earnings, rent, miscellaneous expense, miscellaneous revenues, daycare, athletics. And those are some examples. And then federal funding is about 1% of our total estimated revenues, for a total estimate of $38,188,786. Page 4 reflects a chart of the 5-year comparison of our tax values for debt service. As you can see, we have had significant increases in our values over the last 5 years, and those make significant impacts on any other issues. Moving on to page 5 is our average daily attendance, one of the drivers outside of the funding formula that will generate additional revenue. As you can see, we have had a decline in our ADA, specifically for the year 2020 and 2021, which is the year of COVID. So we're trying to inch up little by little for the coming years. 6 is an estimate of the local revenue in excess of entitlement, also referred to as recapture. So on those, beginning with the 1920, this district has been paying recapture again. Prior to that, we have not paid recapture since 2011, 2012. And that is mostly due to the significant increase in values that we have experienced over the last 5 years. When our values go up, that's when recapture goes up. The only thing that will help us keep more funds in our district is going to be the ADA average daily attendance. Page 7 is our fund balance. The fund balance includes about $14.8 million that is committed for instruction, construction, and equipment. All prior year bonds have been exhausted. However, we are proposing to sell half of the $3 million bond that was approved in May. So that will be the proposed action item later on in the agenda. Some of the different projects that we have funded out of fund balance are listed there, specifically the ones that we funded this year are for safety and security and our career technology education programs. Cosmetology and auto mechanics being one of the most significant ones. Page 8 is our proposed budget. Some of the summary of our proposed budget is our salaries. All support staff did receive a $1 increase per hour, an additional $125,000 in merit pay. Certified teachers, our starting pay is at $52,000. All other certified teachers received an average of 4.5% increase. We do have a zone pay also for certified teachers, which are teaching a tested subject or special ed. We had an increase in the tested subject stipends, beginning with $4,000 at the elementary level, all the way up to $7,500 at high school. The district continues to contribute up to $400 per employee for the insurance. We are funding 5 security SRO officers at each campus, among other funds for security and for security equipment and cameras. Also included in this budget, 14 passenger buses that we ordered that are already in order but have not come in. Those are included in this budget. Also, maintenance and transportation supplies, we have experienced a very significant increase in those prices along with fuel. Those adjustments were also made to this budget. And we also have budgeted funds for required maintenance upgrades throughout the district. I've also had a significant increase in this year, so that's included also in our budget. We are continuing to feed all students free. And also in our budget is for debt service is paying additional debt that is for any early additional debt. With that said, our proposed budget is a deficit budget of a little over $2.7 million. Page 9 and 10 reflect our proposed budget for food service and debt service. Increase in those budgets this year for food service, about $280,500 from prior year, which includes the food costs and salary increases. And for debt service, $9.7 million, which includes some funds to pay off some of the early bonds. Moving on to page 11. Page 11 is the certified appraisal tax roll. For maintenance and operations, we had an increase of 36.97% from prior year. For interest and sinking, our increase was 31.46% from prior year. Almost $1 billion in each category from prior year. The difference between the M&O and the INS values is a Chapter 313 agreement. Currently, we have 4 projects that generate approximately $960,000, which are outside the funding formula and are not subject to recapture. The debt service tax rate is calculated to meet the bond payment efforts for our district. For the 3rd year in a row, the district is taking advantage of the taxable value increases, and we plan to pay off some bond early as well. The proposed tax rate for INS is 0.2454. For our maintenance and operations, our tax rate is set by TA following the guidelines from House Bill 3, which is to maintain tax equity. As a result, no district can set a tax rate lower than 0.8046 or higher than 0.8941. The FSISD's compressed tax rate
based on this formula is 0.8046. So we're at the very bottom of that. So in addition to the maximum compressed tax rate, we may levy an additional 5 voter pennies, which will yield more state funding without voter approval. Our proposed tax rates for 2022 are 0.8546 for maintenance and operations, 0.2454 for INS, for a total of 1.1 tax rate, which is just below 3% from the prior year. Concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to address any questions that anyone may have.
Anything athletic director? Consent agenda, the board has been furnished with background material on each item and or it had been discussed at a previous meeting. All items will be acted upon by one vote per category. Items may be withdrawn for individual consideration. The remaining items will be adopted by one vote per category. Items withdrawn for separate discussion will be acted upon. We have the minutes, approval of minutes of the board meeting of August 17, 2022 as a July check register. Motion to approve. Questions, anybody?
Along with checkers.
Motion by Patrick to approve the agenda minutes of July check register. Do I have a second? Second by Ursula. Questions, anybody? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Now we'll go to discussion and information. We have a letter from Dr. Wade Smith, Director of
Sent this out, I just wanted to congratulate the school board and the legal district. They went a step further. The last time when I spoke, we did a report on how our 8th rep had come out. I talked about how we would have done as it compared to the previous year when there were no ratings because of COVID. And he just points out some of the things that were noteworthy. Moving to the So right to here and to the service center is noting and congratulating y'all. Once again, congrats to everybody.
action items. The board may elect to consider, discuss, table, or approve, and or take action on any of the items under this section. The ordinance 2022 certified appraisal.
Sure. So what we have right here is the appraisal roll as presented by our chief appraiser, Mr. Sam Calderon. This is something that we do on an annual basis. Per check the block. Unless there are any questions, I recommend that we approve the 2022 certified appraisal roll.
Recommendation. Dr. Zamora recommend approving the 2022 certified appraisal roll. Do you have any questions, discussion, or motion? I'm going to approve the 2022 certified appraisal roll. Ready? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. B, price of cafeteria adult meals.
Vice President Garcia. So on an annual basis, our cafeteria directors and finance people take a look at what we need to charge in order to stay in compliance. with what the regulations are. And once again, we find ourselves in a position where we were having to up the price of our lunch and our breakfast. And again, this is not because we want to do it, it's because we need to do it, and it does require more action. So what we're looking at is moving from $4.15 for lunch currently and $2.75 for breakfast to an increase of $4.50 and $3. And this primarily is because of the increase in everything. So a cut and dry thing, not anything other than a check the block again. So I recommend increasing the price for adult meals, lunches to $4.50 and breakfast to $3, unless there are questions.
A recommendation to increase the price for adult meal lunches to $4.50 and breakfast to $3. Have a motion?
I'm going to increase the adult meal prices for $4.50 for lunch and $3 for breakfast.
We have a motion by Freddie. Do we have a second? Second by Ursula. All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The district insurance, auto liability and workers' comp.
Sure, so what we have here is an increase of approximately 3% from the prior year until now, which isn't bad considering just how high all the different things are popping up. I know that, Ms. Maria, when we talked about this, there were over 50 companies that were shopped.
Yes, sir.
With the different vendors. So unless there are any questions, they did us a good job this last year. I recommend approving the renewal proposal for property casualty auto liability insurance from Liberty Mutual and the workers' compensation plan from Claims Administrative Services, CAS, which is, this is the last year where we are essentially stuck with CAS from the prior.
We have a recommendation by Dr. Zamora to review the proposal of property casualty auto and liability insurance from Liberty Mutual and the workers' compensation insurance from Claims Administrative Services. We have a motion?
I move to approve the proposal from Gregory Mutual for property casualty auto liability insurance coverage and the workers' compensation plan proposal from Claims Administrative Services.
We have a motion by Andy. Do a second? Second by Freddie. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The order authorizing the redemption of a portion of FSISD unlimited tax fund.
Whenever it's real long agenda items like that, it's because Ms. Maria wrote them. So she's real thorough and she does it in that way. So what this talks about the defeasance means that we're looking at paying off some of these bonds early, and this order grants that. We've been doing this for a couple of years successfully. So unless there are questions regarding the defeasance, I would recommend approving the order authorizing the defeasance and the portion of the unlimited bonds.
Recommendation by Dr. Zamora to approve the order authorizing the defeasance and redemption of a portion of the forced organized unlimited tax bonds. We have a discussion, please. Questions? A motion?
I move to approve the order of authorization of decisions and redemption.
We have a motion by Nacho. Do a second? I'll second. Andy. Favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. E, order authorizing the levy of annual ad valorem tax execution of all, authorizing the execution of and procedures.
Yeah, in layman's terms, what we're trying to do here is receive permission to sell approximately, well, not approximately, half of the $3 million bond for technology that is to be used for cash flow peripherals including displays and laptops, et cetera. This will allow us to go through and also, I believe, remember who it is that is going to have the winning bid?
Yes,
for
sir.
who it is. So at this point, we do have Mr. Jay Juarez from McCall, what, Parker's?
McCall Parker's Award.
Okay, all the attorney firms have to have every last name of every single attorney in the.
Those guys are dead already. There's not one living guy. McCall Parker was all passed away. Just for the record, my name is Jay Waters, I'm an attorney with McCall Parker's Award. You've probably met one of my colleagues, Rose Kaminsky. She's the election specialist. I handle public finance, bond issuances and stuff like that, the fees to redemption. So that agenda language isn't all Dana Maria. I do help her out with that. And you also have on Zoom, Dwayne Westerman, who if you have any questions regarding the financial terms, he's a better person to answer that. But pretty much what you were doing here is you are authorizing an order of authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of those 1.5 million and securing the payment by levying an ad valorem tax. And right now, as I understand it, the terms that are in front of you, I believe, did you come out that updated?
I did, yes.
So the terms that are in front of you, those reflect a bid that was submitted by Frost Bank. And so those were actually the best interest rate. If there are any other bids that you would like to consider, though, that decision will need to be made tonight. We just need that read into the motion. So my recommendation would just be move to approve the order authorizing the issue, sale, and delivery of Fort Stockton ISD's unlimited taxable building bond, Series 2022, awarded to Frost Bank, authorizing the levy of an ad valorem tax, and authorizing all other action related thereto. You can just say for the order is stated. So any questions?
No questions, I recommend approving the order as stated, with Frost Bank being the better.
A recommendation of Dr. Suarez to approve the bank. The motion. Any questions or motion?
Make the motion as stated and believe that Frost Bank is aware of the bid.
We have a motion by Nacho. Second. All in favor, raise your hand. F, budget,
Budget amendments here as we approach the end of the school year. Is there anything of note or are there any questions? I recommend approving the budget amendments as presented.
Recommendation by Dr. Smollett to approve the budget amendments as presented. Have a motion. A motion by Freddie. You got a second?
I'll second.
Second by Nacho. All in favor, raise your hand. Carried by vote. Reimbursement resolutions, maintenance, operation, and transportation.
Everybody knows that we've thrown a lot of money at the different areas of the district, maintenance, transportation, et cetera. And because we're back in business, looking to push for a bond here in November, what this enables us to do is, in the event that we are successful, reimburse ourselves for some of these large expenditures that have taken place. I want to say that anything that from the 60 days from the time the check was cut, this would cover. And then there is, I want to say 18 months from the time of this resolution, which is well within the range of if we succeed in November. So unless there are questions, the purpose of this is specifically for maintenance, operations, transportation. I recommend approving the reimbursement resolution.
We have a recommendation by Dr. Smollett to approve the reimbursement resolution. Questions, discussion? There a motion? I move to approve the reimbursement. Motion by Andy, there a second? Second by Freddie. All in favor, raise your hand. Here's my vote. The adoption of 2022-2023 budget.
Thomas Maria's wonderful presentation. Budgets, and you have this available, it's posted. If there are no questions, then I recommend adopting the general fund food service and debt services budgets as presented.
We have a recommendation by Dr. Zamora to adopt the general fund service and debt service budgets as presented. Questions, discussion?
I move to adopt the 2022-2023 general fund food service and debt service budget.
Motion by Nacho. Second by Andy. All in favor, raise your right hand. We're down to the
This is what we do annually again, as compared to the property taxes. Setting the tax rate. Last year, we were approximately at $1.13. The tax rate is made up of our maintenance and operations, which is exactly for that, so that we can maintain and operate. And then we have our interest and sinking portion, which is used to repay our debts. At this point, we are looking at proposing just under a 3-cent reduction, which is a reduction, I think, that puts us now somewhere in the 13 cents over the past 6 or 7 years in dropping the rate. Now, there are some pretty interesting things that are occurring here with some of the required language because of the kind of very unique situations that occur. I like to point out that, at least in mine, it's not in color. I hope it's in color in yours, but on the second page, there's a negative. That's what those parentheses mean, and it is red. For the actual resolution, is it in color in theirs? It is. Okay, so the board has it in color in red. That represents a negative. So I want to point out that when it comes to that, there are some mandatory languages that have to be in there. This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. It will, because we have more property values, but it also means that more of that gets sent to the state. The second one, where it talks about the tax rate will effectively be raised by 31.11%, is a calculation involving what is called the no new revenue effective or tax rate, which is a calculation that is kind of funky this year because of that property increase. And that increase is from a number that doesn't exist, because even though that number does exist, because the state says we have to calculate it, we couldn't actually charge that number without being hugely penalized. And that increase is an increase from that pretend number versus from where we were last year. But because it doesn't state that we're comparing from a pretend number, we're pretending from last year to now, the increase on a $100,000 home is approximately a negative number. So people will save on a $100,000 home approximately $24.60 compared to what they paid last year. So apples to apples, funny. We had quite the number of discussions over this, but at the end of the day, we're not the first district to end up in this result. Mr. Juarez, you mentioned several, including some in Dallas. I think Park City was another this year.
Yes, sir.
That find themselves in exactly this situation. So sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there so that we can understand why it is that it looks like that. If there are no questions, I recommend approving the resolution for adopting the tax rate of $1.10, combined $1.10 for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Any questions?
We have a recommendation by Dr. Zamora to approve the resolution for adopting the tax rate of $1.10 for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Note the 31.11% increase is as compared to the known new revenue M&O rate. Questions? Have a motion?
I move that the property tax rate be increased by an additional.
By the adoption.
The tax rate of 1.10, which is effectively a 31.11% increase in tax rate.
We have a motion by Nacho to increase. Second by Ursula. Everybody in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this point, we will be going from open session to closed session, which is 7:40.
Chiari, Texas, rural, all over.
All right, we will now reconvene to take any action necessary to run the closed session. It is now 8:04. J Guardian Plan authorized this for staff.
And we entered this closed session so that we could present a list of individuals who have completed the training and have all of the prerequisites required to be named as guardians, lacking only the approval of the board. Those names have been presented. Now that you've had the chance to review them and listen to the training that they went through, thank you, Mr. McGriff, for that. I recommend approving the list of guardian staff discussed in closed session as presented and maintained both in our EOP and the minutes of the closed session.
We have a recommendation by Dr. Shimoda to approve the list of guardian staff discussed in the closed session. Do you have any questions? Do you have a motion?
I move to approve the list of the guardian staff discussed in the closed session.
We have a motion by Nacho. Second that. Second by Andy. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Activity, deployments, resignations, retirements, transfers, and terminations.
They're listed. We have a meeting this Wednesday on the facilities. That's taking place at the bus campus at 6 p.m. At this point, it's not necessary to let another special board meeting between now and our regular meeting, but if necessary, we'll reach out based on how we're progressing. Issue.
News media revocation. That meeting is adjourned now.